Another day, another cancellation, man. I didn't think it would be so soon before we saw another company get canceled for something, but I guess we're back at it, you know what I'm saying? The grind doesn't stop. Everybody's always looking for something to be complaining about and trying to figure out if there's a problem with something. That's how it is, you know what I'm saying? And this is no different. Now, if you didn't watch my video the other day, basically I made a video talking about how on Twitter there was like this big trend that Wendy's was going to be canceled. All these people pledged like, oh my God, I'm never eating another Wendy's hamburger again. That 4 for 4 is gone. That's just how it is. That's how people were talking and everything. And it turned out that the reason that they were boycotting the company didn't even make sense, because apparently on Twitter, like, there's this trend popping up, I guess, of people wanting to cancel companies because their owners or CEOs or whatever are donating to Donald Trump's re-election campaign. Now, the next target of this entire trend here is now Home Depot. Now, I just want to start this whole thing off and just, I guess, air it out right now. How often are you guys going to Home Depot? I mean, unless you work in like construction or you're always doing home improvement projects, like what are you doing at Home Depot, bro? Like 80% of the stuff that I can think of regular people going in there and buying is at like Walmart or other places. Like you don't have to go into Home Depot to get light bulbs. You don't have to go into Home Depot to get paint or to get anything, really. I mean, yeah, if you're going there and buying 40 pieces of lumber or something, yeah, I can see that, but I just can't imagine that these people who are saying that they're going to boycott Home Depot are going there often enough for it to matter anyway. I mean, shit, 80% of these people probably been boycotting Home Depot unintentionally for their entire lives. I don't know. I just had to get that out there and kind of bring that whole point up. So the reason that people are trying to boycott Home Depot is once again tied to the whole like Trump re-election campaigns and donations and things like that. So essentially Twitter got a hold of the fact that one of the co-founders of Home Depot pledged to donate a bunch of his money that he had earned to the Trump re-election campaign for 2020. So already, like, that's the reason we've established. I mean, it's whatever, right? Like, I get people don't like Trump. That's whatever, right? I don't really care about people's political beliefs about the president and things like that. I really just don't care. I'm going to be honest. It's not anything I really sit around and worry about, like, oh my God, do people really not like him? It's whatever to me, right? People, in my opinion, are allowed to have their own political beliefs regardless, so that's what people are mad about. And what's funny, I'm just gonna bring this up as well, it's been less than a year since the same situation actually unfolded. So while doing a little bit of like background research and stuff on this whole thing, I found an article from NPR on July 10th of 2019. So once again, it hasn't even been a full year, but it's says, Home Depot responds to calls for boycott over co-founder's support for Trump. I clicked on this thinking that it was an article about the current situation, but no, apparently this shit literally happened last year. So this isn't even the first fucking time that this company has been canceled for their co-founder's support of Donald Trump, which already begs the question, like, how effective is this really going to be, right? Like, obviously not that many people cared back then. Why are people going to suddenly start caring about it now? I mean, you guys already tried this whole boycott Home Depot thing over the whole same situation, and I mean, from what I understand, Home Depot's doing just fine, right? Like, all the dads buying grills are hanging out at Home Depot right now. It's about that time, right? It's getting warm outside, right? Dad's out getting himself a new grill or whatever. Home Depot, here he comes, bro. So yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead and break this down even more. So if you already thought that it was kind of bullshit to begin with because, well, of course, they already failed doing this last year, and this is basically just like the part 2 episode for it. It turns out that the co-founder that has caused all of this controversy isn't even fucking affiliated with the company anymore. So, in the Wendy's video, I talked about how the person who everyone was mad about donating essentially was like the owner of like a franchising company. So he owned some of the Wendy's locations, but it wasn't like it was the CEO of Wendy's coming out like, bro, I'm on the Trump train, we're draining the swamp, here's 80 million in donations, anything crazy like that. It turned out to just be some guy who's essentially one of the many fish in the pond that makes up the franchising of Wendy's locations. It wasn't even affiliated with the company. And this time around, it makes even less sense because this person isn't even fucking affiliated with Home Depot anymore and hasn't been affiliated since like Bush was president. So the person that everyone's mad about, his name is Bernie Marcus. He is one of the co-founders of the Home Depot. Bernie Marcus retired from being the chairman of this company in 2002. Bro, I was still a fucking toddler when this dude decided, hey, I'm done. And people, I guess, are still tying him to the company, right? Like, once again, this dude was actually at it before I was even alive. But now his personal contributions represents Home Depot? I mean, like, can we make it make sense, right? Like, how does his personal contributions, almost 20 years after he retired, like, speak for the company in any way? Now, this dude donated to Trump already. Back in his 2016 run for president, Bernie Marcus donated more than $7 million to that run. So, I mean, his ties to Trump, they've been there, right? Like, dude is an obvious fan, and he's been putting millions of dollars on this already. So it's not like this is anything new, of course, but, you know, just now in 2019 and now in 2020 is when people decide that they're gonna fucking boycott Home Depot, which he has no ties to anymore. Now, this dude is a multi-billionaire. As of November 2019, his net worth is $6.2 billion with a B. That's a fuck ton of money, obviously. And what isn't necessarily being told by people who are apparently in this protest, or this boycott protest, whatever you want to call it, aka just not buying anything from Home Depot because, well, like I said, most people don't need to anyway. Bernie Marcus has pledged to donate the vast majority of all of his money to charity. I'm pretty sure the dude is like 90 or 92, so he's pretty old, right? Like, it's on, I mean, I know it sounds harsh, but it's obviously time for him to start thinking about what he's gonna do with all of the shit that he's basically built up over time, you know? That's just how it is. But he already has this planned. As a matter of fact, 80 to 90% of his wealth are going to go to the Marcus Foundation, which is going to be used to fund all kinds of different organizations. Now, of course, some of his money is going to go to get Trump reelected or whatever. That's what he's donating some of his money for. And that's what people have kind of picked out and are pissed about and are making a big deal out of. However, Marcus and his, I guess his organization here, essentially are going to be funding helping children with autism, funding veterans, helping new medical discoveries. So he's being charitable, but not just to Donald Trump. Like, he's actually trying to help fix problems in the world, right? He's putting a bunch of his money into this. Like, this is obviously something that he really believes in. Now, the crowd has kind of just picked out the Trump donations and ran with that. They don't give a fuck that this guy is donating for any of these other causes. They're essentially just making him be a horrible person because he's donating to the person that they don't like. And like I said, people are free to have their political beliefs and everything, but I just personally don't see why it's that huge of a shocker or even a deal, really. Like, how many fucking billionaires do you think are just out there like, yeah, I really don't like Trump, the billionaire president, who pretty much all of his policies align with exactly what I want? I mean, sure, there's probably a couple of them out there that are like, yeah, I really don't vibe with Trump or whatever, but, like, are you fucking surprised that the dude is gonna be donating money to Trump? Like, Donald Trump, in a lot of ways, is like the rich man's poster or whatever, right? Like, he was well known before his presidency for this kind of stuff. So I don't see why people are like, they see this and they're like, really? Somebody who is billions of dollars in wealth right now actually supports Donald Trump? Let's boycott the company that he co-founded decades ago and hasn't had any interaction with since the Iraq War started, right? Now, this guy has already donated $2 billion to charity, to over 300 organizations. So he's not just saying, oh, I'm gonna do this, oh, I'm gonna put a bunch of money forward. This dude already is putting money forward. $2 billion is a shit ton of money, and we're not talking about like how a lot of people are and they look at what billionaires donate and criticize every angle of it. We're not talking about Jeff Bezos with however many billions of dollars, like 140 billion or whatever, donating, you know, a couple billion here and there, which even then affects way more than most people I think actually can picture. We're talking about a guy who's worth $6.5 billion donating $2 billion already and then pledging 80 to 90% of his wealth in the rest of his life to go to these different organizations. So essentially, the crowd on Twitter has picked out this one donation that he's going to make and made a big deal out of it and are now boycotting a company that isn't even involved in the decision. I mean, it's not like Home Depot came out and was like, hashtag MAGA, hashtag Trump 2020, something like that. Like, I get it, quarantine has everybody bored, right? Like, we're just now getting out of it, and even then everyone's back inside because everyone's outside fucking burning the cities down. But it's like, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? It gets ridiculous at a certain point where all these boycotts go, right? Like, first off, if you don't shop at Home Depot, which, once again, like, I can probably think of 4 people I know who consistently are at Home Depot. If you're not shopping there, you like, what you say doesn't even fucking matter to the company in the first place. If you're not in their, like, their marketing demographic, or you're a customer, like, what are they gonna give a shit? Do you think they care? If you're not profiting for that company, no. They don't really care. You, like I said, have already been boycotting this company for long enough. Like, you don't really need to make this the point where you're like, oh, I'm never shopping there again. But if you're a consistent Home Depot supporter or whatever, and you thought that this was what was going on, like, I gotta question it, because, like I said, all of the stuff that I told you here took one Google search of the guy's name. But these people, like, they're not even fucking looking it up before they say this, and they're basically just making complete fools out of themselves. Like, it doesn't make sense. Folks, if you're gonna boycott, actually know what the fuck you're boycotting for. Actually have an understandable reason. And actually be a customer of the store in the first place. Like, if I came out today and was like, bro, I am done eating Taco Bell. I will never eat Taco Bell ever again because they took their volcano menu off, which, by the way, is probably one of the greatest fucking tragedies in American history. Taco Bell, I know you're watching this, bring the volcano menu back, but that would actually make sense because I eat Taco Bell, but I would also probably have a better reason to boycott their company than just, oh, some dude that worked there 20 years ago is a supporter of a presidential candidate I don't like. But with that being said, it's just weird how it seems like in the news, like, there's been this cycle recently where the same shit just happens on a different day. I don't know if I'm just now realizing that this is what's going on or what the whole deal is, but I don't know, it's crazy. With that being said, thank you guys for watching, though. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at SubOptimus. Make sure to check out Shop Opti down below for the freshest official Optimus merch. Thank you to my channel members. Your support helps my channel tremendously. I'm actually making a Discord server for channel members and merch purchasers, whatever you want to call that. It's been a pretty heavily requested thing in the recent weeks and months since I closed the actual Discord server, so it's in the works. I'll announce more when it's ready. But with that being said, thank you for watching, and until my next video, this is Optimus, boycotting companies, and signing out.